Hi BookTube, my name is Juan. I am just one reader, and today I will be sharing some of my thoughts, opinions, and of course predictions for the Oscars, the 2022 edition, because they are this Sunday finally. I hope the ceremony will be a good one. So a couple disclaimers and a little bit of a prologue to this video. This video was born because of a conversation that I had earlier today with Jason from the BookTube channel Old Blues Chapter and Verse. If you don't follow him, you should follow him. He's a great human being. I really enjoy his content and chatting with him. He is a great, insightful, thoughtful book reviewer, and he also knows a great deal about film. And he and we've had some really great conversations regarding this and many other movies. So I started talking with him earlier today, and we started discussing, some of these films, and that's why I decided I wanted to share some of my thoughts on a video here with you. Uh, a very obvious disclaimer, but a necessary one, I guess, is that I am not a film critic by any means. I have studied things related to art and art criticism, but that's not the place where I am coming from today. I'm just a book reviewer, not even a reviewer. I'm not a reviewer. I'm just a person who loves reading, and as much as I love reading, I also love movie watching just as much as I do reading books. So I might as well make a video about it. So this video, this is the final disclaimer. This video will also contain some um, probably controversial, probably sassy opinions that you might not agree with. That's okay, because this is art, and it's a paradox. We have to tolerate people's opinions, and that's the way that the world works. You can't be offended. Anyway, so let's just go over the. Oh, and another disclaimer that I forgot was I haven't watched all the movies, of course, but I have watched enough of them. So let's just go over some of the major categories, shall we? And I will just start talking off the cuff, and we'll see where we go. Hopefully this video will be under 20 minutes. So, actor in a leading role. The nominees are Javier Bardem being the Ricardos. What is that movie about? I never saw it because I think it's based on some kind of American sitcom or American TV show or something that is like quintessentially American and being Mexican. I have no idea what that is based on, so I just don't really care about the subject material. And I've also heard that the movie sucks and the performances suck. But there you go, being the Ricardos. Then, so Javier Bardem being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch, The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield, Tick Tick Boom, Will Smith, King Richard. What's that movie about? I think that movie is about something revolving around a sport. I personally am against sports. Just, that's my philosophy. So I don't watch that. And then we have Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. So from these nominees, I think it's probably going to be Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, which is actually a move that I saw. I didn't particularly love that movie, but I agree that Benedict Cumberbatch would be a good fit. Um, I also think Andrew Garfield was really wonderful in Tick Tick Boom. But yeah, I don't really have much to say on this category. I think Benedict Cumberbatch was okay. Anyway, um, so I think here I should tell you that my favorite film of the entire year was not even nominated for anything, of course, because it was never going to be nominated. But my favorite movie of the year by far was In the Heights, the original Lin-Manuel Miranda musical. And that was just a very me kind of movie. It really resonated with me, and the performance that Anthony Ramos gave in The Heights as Uznavi, I think that deserves some nomination for everything that he is doing there. I just, wow, wow, in The Heights, wow. Anyway, let's move on to the next category, which is actor but in a supporting role. And here we have Kieran Hines for Belfast, Troy Kutzer for Coda, Jesse Plemons for The Power of the Dog. Let's face it, Jesse Plemons is in like 2% of that movie. Hello. Then we have J.K. Simmons for, again, being the Ricardos, whatever that is. And finally, Cody Smith McPhee for The Power of the Dog. I think from all of these nominees, I think Kieran Hines from Belfast was great. I really, really loved that charming performance. But I think it will go to, and it should go to, Cody Smith McPhee for The Power of the Dog. From that entire movie, his character and his acting and his, every single time that he was on stage or on film, on the scene, it was just breathtaking. My eye was immediately drawn to his facial expressions, the way that he carried himself. I loved the character and the performance, so I would choose him. And I think that's the highlight of the movie for me as well. So anyway, let's just keep going. Actress in a leading role, we have Jessica Chastain for a movie called The Eyes of Tammy Faye. What is that? That movie didn't even come out here in Mexico in any recognizable platform that I know of, or maybe it did and I just missed it. But I've heard it's a shit performance, honestly. Then we have Olivia Colman in a beautiful, subtle, haunting movie called The Lost Daughter. Penelope Cruz in Madres Paralelas, or Parallel Mothers, which is a great movie and a wonderful performance, of course. Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer. Look, this is probably the category, or one of the categories, that I will be just like, oh, I will have white knuckles. Like, I will be just clenching my fists in excitement during the ceremony in this category, because I really, really, really want Kristen Stewart to win the Oscar for Spencer. I think Spencer was one of my favorite, like one of my top 5 movies of the year, and her performance is so unique and special, and many people hated her performance, but I just adored it. But I don't know if she's going to win. I think Olivia Colman was just Olivia Colman being Olivia Colman, being great. She's great in everything. In The Lost Daughter, I think Penelope Cruz was great in Parallel Mothers as well. What a great movie. What a special gem of a movie. But honestly, I think I would certainly root, like 100%, I would root for Kristen Stewart in Spencer. Then we have actress in a supporting role, and we have Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter. She was great. Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. I like to be in America. Then we have Judi Dench for Belfast. Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog. She's in like 1% of that movie. And then we have on Johnny Ellis, I don't know how to pronounce that name, for King Richard, which I think is the sport movie that, of course, I didn't see because it's a sport movie. Of course, we know that this category is a lock. It's going to be Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, and deservedly so. It was a beautiful movie. Again, one of my top 10 movies of the year. Maybe not top 5, but certainly top 10. And her performance is really a standout. I I think she's going to win, but I also really, really liked Jessie Buckley in The Lost Daughter. That was another instance, just like the man child from The Power of the Dog. Every single time Jessie Buckley was on screen in The Lost Daughter, I was completely like, I don't know, I was captivated and feeling sort of off kilter, like caught off guard. I just loved it. Then we have animated feature film, and we have Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya and The Last Dragon. Um, the only one that I saw from this whole list was Encanto, but let's face it, Encanto is one of the best movies that has come out in the last 5 years. It's so delightful, it's so expertly crafted. The music is really, really good. It's better than you think it is. Um, and I don't know, it was just such a happy, beautiful movie that didn't, it wasn't trying to be like a super stylish movie with like cryptic messages like the power of the dog. This was just straightforward fun music, very simple story, and a message for children, about the family and about traditions and migration and sacrifices and all of that. But I just thought it was wonderful. Encanto, encanto, encanto. Then we have cinematography, Dune, Greg Fraser for Dune, Dan Lawson for Nightmare Alley, Ari Wegner for The Power of the Dog, Bruno Delbonnel for The Tragedy of Macbeth, and Janusz Kaminski for West Side Story. I think it should be um, Greg Fraser for Dune. I mean, the cinematography in Dune was outstanding. I think that's what really made me love that movie. But I also think Bruno Delbonnel for The Tragedy of Macbeth, even though I did not like that movie because I don't like Shakespeare. And let me say it again in case you missed it, I don't like Shakespeare. I hate Shakespeare. I just don't understand it. His words. I feel very ignorant. I can't follow up. I can't follow the Shakespearean way of delivering language, so I just don't like it. I also think Janusz Kaminski for West Side Story, but I hope it goes for Dune. Then we have costume design. We have Cruella, Cyrano, which I haven't seen. It hasn't come out here. Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story. I think it should go to West Side Story, honestly. Um, or maybe Dune. Yeah, I think all of these like production designs or costume design awards should go to Dune and or West Side Story. Cruella was a movie that many people raved about, in terms of the costume design and the art department. Um, I thought Cruella was just the most meh movie of the year. It was so forgettable and so lackluster that I don't even remember if the costume design was that remarkable in the first place. So I would just go for something like Dune or West Side Story. Okay, so then we have directing, and this is where things get interesting because, like, where is Denis Villeneuve? Like, where the fuck is Denis Villeneuve for Dune? That was the directorial, I don't know, like, moment of the year in a way. So the fact that he's not here, I do not agree with. I do not care for that. But the nominees are Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, and I agree. My favorite thing from Belfast is probably the directing, the direction. So I would be completely happy if Kenneth Branagh took the statue home. Then we have some movie called Drive My Car, which hasn't come out here in Mexico. Then we have Licorice Pizza, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza. That was my favorite movie of the year. That is not in the Heights. So from all of these nominees, Licorice Pizza is my number one. It's the one that I'm rooting for, and I am looking forward to it getting at least one award. And I think directing would be the one, but it's not going to happen. I don't think it will. I would be cheering on top of my seat if Paul Thomas Anderson, or PTA as we call him, won. because I think that movie is so perfect and so expertly directed. But it's not going to happen. It's going to go to Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. And I agree, the direction in that movie was pretty good, even though the movie to me was a pretty regular movie. And finally, we have Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. I would be completely glad if he won, but not as happy as I would be if PTA uh, took the win. Then we have some awards that I don't care about. Um, mm, 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 mm. Let's just skip all of these and go straight to international feature film. So we have Drive My Car from Japan, Flee from Denmark, The Hand of God from Italy, which I have heard is a pretty good movie. Actually, it was Jason's favorite movie of the year. Then we have Lunana, a yak in the classroom from Bhutan. And finally, The Worst Person in the World from Norway, which is one of my favorite movies of the year. The Worst Person in the World. It's such a subtle, haunting, elegant, sophisticated movie. It might just go over your head. That's how good it actually is. So I hope it wins. Then we have makeup and hairstyling. We have Coming to America, which I have no idea what it is. Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and The House of Gucci, which I didn't see because I heard it was crap. Um, for makeup and hairstyling, I might be okay with Cruella getting it, but honestly, I think it should go to Dune, but I don't know. Then we have music, original score, Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto, Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dog. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe it should be Dune, Hans Zimmer. I think it should be Hans Zimmer for Dune, or maybe Jermaine Franco for Encanto. But it probably will go and maybe should go to Johnny Greenwood for The Power of the Dog. The score is really fantastic. Then we have music, original song, Be Alive from King Richard, which I didn't see. Dos Oruguitas from Encanto, which is really not the best song in Encanto, but okay. Down to Joy from Belfast. No Time to Die from No Time to Die. That was the 007 film, right? I thought that movie was okay. I actually rather enjoyed the first half. I thought the second half kind of fell apart. But anyway. And then we have Somehow You Do from Four Good Days. I honestly don't know, so I would love Encanto to win, but I really don't know. And then we have, of course, Best Picture. Oh, so we have Best Picture, Production Design, Sound, Visual Effects. Okay, so let's go with the visual effects. Visual effects, we have Spider-Man. I don't watch superhero movies because, sports and superheroes. No, thank you. Shang, Shang-Chi, Shangri-La, and the Legend of the Ten Rings. What is that? No Time to Die, Free Guy, and Dune. It should be Dune. It should be Dune. It should be Dune. Dune, 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 Dune. We have writing, original and adapted. So for adapted, we have Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. It should probably be Dune, although The Lost Daughter was great. I really don't know. I just hope it isn't Coda. Coda is probably the movie that I saw from all of these nominees that I hated the most. I wanted to like throw up and then eat my own barf and then just keep recycling it. And also like I don't know, burn myself with matches or something. I hated Coda. I despised that fucking movie. So I don't want it to win anything. Then we have writing, the original screenplay, and we have Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World. I would be so happy if the worst person in the world took it. It's such a great, great, great screenplay and movie and everything. I think my number one is Licorice Pizza. Honestly, Licorice Pizza is so perfect. It's a perfect movie. Um, but honestly, I would be happy with any of these winning as long as they don't give it to Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up was another movie that was just so idiotic. Like, it's so stupid and so easy. It's a very easy movie. It's such a simplistic take on what it's trying to do and what it's trying to say. It's just, I thought it was a simplistic, idiotic movie. And I just cannot believe that it's nominated here. Um, anyway, then we have production design, Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. So for production design, I would say Dune again would be great. I would love to see Dune. Nightmare Alley had a great production design as well, as did West Side Story. So I honestly don't know. I'm realizing right now, as I'm saying it out loud, I would be happy with many of these getting the award. Um, I mean, I certainly have some preferences here and there. Like, yeah, I think West Side Story would be my pick or Dune, but I would be completely happy if Nightmare Alley got it or maybe The Power of the Dog. Yeah. And then finally, we have Best Picture. So for Best Picture, let's go one by one. We have Belfast. Belfast, yeah, it's a movie that I liked. I wasn't particularly blown away by anything in it, but it was consistently charming and bittersweet and sort of melancholy in a way that kept me engaged. But by the end of it, during the final credits, I wasn't like particularly moved or changed. I just really liked it. Then we have Coda, which is a horrible, trashy, sentimental example of hot garbage. It's bullshit. I hated Coda strongly. I hated the characters. I hated the direction. I hated my Mexican Eugenio Derbez in the movie. I hated that movie. I cannot stand that kind of sentimental, tear jerky kind of movie where you can always see the strings being pulled and you feel manipulated, and I don't get it how people can like this kind of bullshit. Anyway, then we have Don't Look Up, which is just as manipulative and idiotic. It's just very cynical, and therefore I enjoyed it a little bit more, but I thought it was just a very tacky movie. Don't Look Up is a very tacky movie, and I think it was very idiotic, very simplistic, very manipulative, but not as bad as Coda. Then we have Drive My Car, which I haven't seen. Dune, which I mean, come on, Dune is not going to win Best Picture, but I'm glad that they are recognizing it here. King Richard, which I didn't see. Licorice Pizza, I would give the Oscar to Licorice Pizza, no question about it. I mean, Licorice Pizza is a perfect movie. It's the only movie in all of these nominees for me that actually qualifies as a chef's kiss, as a perfect movie. It was one of those movies that when it was over and the end credits started rolling down the screen, I didn't want to leave the theater. I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay for the next showing. I just wanted to keep getting immersed in that vibe and in that world and in those characters. Oh, what a perfect movie, Licorice Pizza. Then we have Nightmare Alley. Who's nominating Nightmare Alley for Best Picture? What? I mean, Nightmare Alley was a fine movie, but it had a lot of flaws. It had a lot of mistakes. It had a lot of inconsistencies, especially tonally. Um, I enjoyed it, but it has nothing to do here in Best Picture. Then we have The Power of the Dog, which is probably going to win because people think it's super relevant, and maybe it is. And people think that it's super cryptic, which it isn't. I thought it was an okay movie, but the ending was so predictable. If you're paying just a smidge of attention, you will predict the outcome to The Power of the Dog. And people are like blown away by not just the outcome, like what actually goes down in the end, but the entire thing. Like people are going crazy for the characters and all of that. And honestly, I thought it was just a good movie. It's a good movie, but nothing to write home about. But it will win Best Picture probably. And finally, West Side Story. I would love if West Side Story won again the Oscar for Best Picture. I mean, the original one won many awards, including Best Picture, back in the day when it was first released, the original one. So I would love to have that kind of uh, that movie winning again for its second iteration. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed some of my sassy, controversial, maybe incorrect feelings about the Oscars. We will just have to wait and see what happens, what goes down this Sunday. The Oscars are something that I am always super excited about, even though I don't really believe in them anymore. I think I stopped believing the year that La La Land was robbed and they gave it to Moonlight. What? What? Again, Moonlight was a very good movie, but come on, La La Land? That was another movie where I didn't want to leave the theater. I just wanted to stay for a second showing and a third one and a fourth one. I know that's very subjective, but I don't understand how some of these things happen. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll just see what happens this Sunday.